This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. Tesla's price cuts really worked their magic in the US, especially with the Model Y. Based on registration data from Experian, Tesla's US sales shot up 37% in the first quarter, but the Model Y was up 79%. Tesla delivered 155,360 cars to customers, and 93,292 of them were Model Ys. The Model 3 was up 11% to 52,885 units. The Model S fell 71%, while the X was up 34%. Tesla says the Model S sales in the US were down so much because it was exporting it to other markets. And when you zoom out and look at the entire EV segment, Experian says over 257,000 EVs were sold in the US in the first 3 months of the year, which suggests over 1 million EVs will be sold in the US this year alone. Stellantis halted all construction on its battery plant in Canada. It says the Canadian government, quote, has not delivered on what was agreed to, close quote, and it says that's in terms of the subsidies it promised to provide. The two sides are talking, and Canada believes the dispute will be resolved. Stellantis and LG Energy Solution are investing nearly $4 billion to build the plant near Windsor, Ontario, and it will have an annual capacity of 45 gigawatt hours. Volkswagen has a lot riding on reviving the Scout brand in the American market, but we're going to have to wait another 3.5 years before we see the results of those efforts. Auto Forecast Solutions reports that the Scout SUV will not go into production until November of 2026. The pickup version starts in May of 2027. They're going to get built at a new $2 billion assembly plant in Blythewood, South Carolina, with a capacity to build 200,000 trucks a year. There's been a flurry of fuel cell announcements in the US ever since California announced it would start banning heavy-duty ICE trucks in 2036. And now the European joint venture between Faurecia and Michelin called Symbio, which makes hydrogen solutions for light and heavy-duty vehicles, has its eyes set on the US. It's now bringing in Stellantis as an equal partner and says the addition will boost its development across Europe as well as the US. Symbio says it will start producing fuel cells in the second half of this year and plans to make 50,000 a year by 2025. Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares says the company will use fuel cells to complement its growing electric fleet.
We want to know what drives your testing. OTA, connected car, diagnostics, remote testing. Intrepid Control Systems is here to help you work from anywhere. Intrepid Control Systems, driven by your data.
Ford revealed the all-new Transit Courier in April, which is a small European commercial van, and now it's showing off the passenger version, which is called the Tourneo Courier. Like the Transit, it will be available as an all-electric model for the first time. Ford's still not giving the battery size, but says customers can charge from 10 to 80% in 35 minutes and add up to 87 kilometers of range in 10 minutes when charging at 100 kilowatts. Power will come from a single 100 kilowatt or roughly 134 horsepower electric motor. And even though it's a modified ICE platform, there's still a small frunk. But if it wasn't an EV model, in the frunk's place would be a turbocharged 1-liter gas engine. Another first for the Tourneo Courier is the addition of an active model, which is meant to give off more of an outdoorsy vibe. It has a 2-tone paint job, roof bars, more black molding, and unique seat fabrics. The gas version of the new Tourneo Courier will go into production later this year, and the EV version will follow in the second half of next year. Both are built in Romania. And to go along with the Tourneo Courier reveal, Ford also announced a massive shakeup of its European sales operations. And the big news here is that customers will be able to make entire purchases online. But if that's not their cup of tea, they can visit the dealer in person or do a combination of both. Ford will launch new online showrooms as well as an associated smartphone app where users can take virtual test rides or book a real one, access charging, schedule service appointments, and much more. This is the so-called agency model where the dealer no longer plays a role in the sale price of a vehicle. That's set by the automaker itself, including any markups or commissions. So the customer orders the car that they want and picks the dealer where they want it to show up to. Ford would like to do something similar in the American market, but the agency model is not legal in the US. After years of touting the superiority of cylindrical battery cells, Tesla will start making its own pouch cells. It applied for regulatory approval in China to produce the pouch cells, as well as expand production at its Shanghai plant. It will begin making them on a very small trial basis, having an initial annual capacity of 20,000 amp hours, which is the same amount of power in a single Model Y battery pack. Well, goodbye range anxiety, or at least if you're able to get your hands on a Zeekr 001 in China with CATL's Quillen battery. But they're only going to make 1,000 of them. The single motor version 4-door hatchback with a 140 kilowatt-hour battery pack delivers over 1,000 kilometers of range based on China's CLTC test procedure. That's 641 miles. And the car is priced at just under $58,000. Despite GM's big bet on EVs, it's still investing in piston power. GM Authority reports that the automaker is developing a new 2.5-liter turbocharged inline 4-cylinder dual overhead cam engine. It's based on GM's 2.7-liter turbo and is in the final stages of development. We don't have the specs or what vehicles it will go into, but for comparison, the 2.7-liter produces 310 horsepower and 348 pound-feet of torque in the Chevy Silverado, and in the Colorado, it delivers between 237 and 310 horses. There's a lot of uncertainty in the auto industry whether consumers will buy enough EVs, and so legacy automakers are hedging their bets by keeping their IC powertrains up to date. And that brings us to the end of today's show. Thank you for tuning in.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. Intrepid Control Systems, over-the-air engineering, boost your game. And by Schaeffler, we pioneer motion.
At Schaeffler, we pioneer motion. Electrifying mobility, manufacturing smarter, reducing CO2 emissions, making energy production clean. Schaeffler pioneers motion to advance how the world moves.